Hello, this is Bradley Dalzell, and welcome to the Wright Brothers Web Quest. This unit is for pre-reading quests before we begin reading the Wright Brothers and how they invented the airplane by Russell Friedman. This is just to get a basic overview of Orville and Wilbur Wright's life, along with getting an understanding of aviation. Currently, we are at the home page. There's my school, Claggett Middle School, Medina, Ohio, and this is for 7th grade language arts. If you scroll down, we get a picture of Orville and Wilbur Wright and a brief, short snippet summary of their lives. Down here, you can either move on to the instructions from this button here or up in this corner. The instructions. So the students will be able to log onto the site, and in another tab they will be creating a Google Doc. They'll be working through tasks 1 through 6 and writing their answers down on the Google Doc itself. Here it says they will be completing all tasks in the Google Doc and the directions on how to name their Google Doc, just to make sure that they share it with myself as well as the other co-teachers in the room. This says that they should be writing in complete sentences, and I give an example of what their Google Doc should look like. Moving on, so starting with task 1. Task 1 is a brief biography of Wilbur and Orville Wright. They have a slideshow to go through and read about both brothers' lives. When they were done with that, I asked them to write 2 surprising facts about Orville and Wilbur. When they conclude for the first question, they move on and watch a short video and then answer some questions, simple questions that are answered in the video. And then they move on to task 2. In task 2, this is myths of early flight. Throughout 7th grade, we touch about myths, legends, folktales, fairy tales. So here they read a short myth about early flight, and then they move on and talk about Leonardo da Vinci and his flying machine. That was well before the Wright brothers' time. Moving on to task 3, it talks about aviation. We'll talk about the plane itself and flight. So here they can click on this picture and they can go to a Smithsonian website from the National Air and Space Museum.
Have you ever tried to solve a puzzle without any clues?
And talk about the airplane.
That's similar to the problem.
Down below, there is a timeline about the Wright brothers' lives that they can look at and answer some questions. Task 4. Task 4 is a little bit more literary. They go talk about journal entries. They have a chance to read through some of Orville Wright's personal journal, and they get to create their own journal entry, either from Wilbur or Orville Wright's perspective, 5 to 7 sentences, about their success on the first flight, December 17th, 1903. The second part of task 4 is a poetry with the Wright brothers. We hit poetry in 7th grade, and this unit will be later on after poetry, and they will read this poem that was written by Helen H. Moore about the Wright brothers, and they will have to create their own poem with at least 2 stanzas, and I give them a word bank of words, aeronautic words, that they can or cannot use. Moving on to task 5. Task 5 is Claggett's or Medina's local connection to the Wright brothers. We have a middle school AI route named after Amos Root and the Root Candle Company. Amos Root is the one of the first people that uh, wrote and published a story about the Wright brothers. So we will read all about this, and after we read the book, we will actually get a chance to go and take a tour of the Root Candle Company. And then they'll get to write their own newspaper article. They'll read Amos Root's news article and get to down below is a whole slew of other newspaper articles written about the Wright brothers. So they will get a chance to read that, and then with using the inverted pyramid that we've already discussed prior in the year, they will get to write their own newspaper article. And finally, task 6. Task 6 is more of an inspirational quote. I hope to take their quotes and hang them around the room. They will choose a quote that mentions flight, such as one about planes, space flight, birds, insects, leaves flying in the air, or how time flies. I gave some examples. And after they find an appropriate quote, write a short paragraph telling them why they think, why the saying means and how it applies to their own life. And they can hopefully find a picture or a drawing that goes along with their quote. This is the book that we'll be reading after they finish or complete this web quest. It is by Russell Friedman. It has pictures along with text. Super great book. Russell Friedman's an awesome author if you guys haven't heard of him. And then down below is a bonus feature. This is a 20-minute video of Charlie Brown. And it's Charlie Brown and the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk, which I think is very entertaining. I didn't know it would be as informative as it was or educational as it was. Up here in the menu, there is the instructions. I have a link to the standards, Common Core standards, along with the International Society for Technology and Education standards. I also have all the resources that I use in this web quest. And then the website overview where you found this video, as well as the survey. I hope you guys enjoyed my Wright Brothers web quest and look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.